Hello everyone, Hachadino over here, and this is going to be an update, not a formal guide yet, very important, about my chayula monk. As you might expect, I've been playing quite a bit since then. Sadly, I still have to work most days, I don't have vacations or anything, so I'm not super deep into the end game. I've been doing up to map level 12, and those are the maps that have dropped, of course, from bosses. The quest itself, it's still a complete tier 8 maps. Why is this like this? It's because I'm trying to get a strong base on my map pool to be able to get higher. So most of the places I go mapping to, like all of these travel nodes without bosses, I use them with like tier 6, 7 or lower once. So I'm going to leave some gameplay. Meanwhile, let's get it there. While I explain a little bit of the updates that I've been working off, that's leaving it there. And now let's explain things a little bit while the video itself is there. So I've already changed to Bold Devotion Chest. Now, as for one problem with that is that the power charge generation is not as big as I thought it would be, because my crit rate it's not 100%. So if it was 100%, we will still gain way more power charges. I am around 40 to 40 something. When my charge infusion thingy pops, it goes way higher to like almost 50, but that's still half of the power expected. There's also kind of a funky situation. It seems it only procs one probability. So my idea was to use Whirling Slash or Tempest Bell, or I also have Ball Lightning in my cast of Critical Strike to proc extra power charges, and also of course my charge staff while I was flickering to get those power charges up and be able to use flicker again. Of course, as you can see on the video in the background, that's not happening yet. I need more crit and other things. One thing that I also worked a little bit is on my defenses. They are not flawless and they are not even strong yet. If you watch my stream for a while, I do die quite a bit because also I'm a bad player. I should roll way more when I get surrounded and things like that. But right now I'm still using some evasion. I have around 20 something and I'm not using Wind Dancer. I should. My goal right now of getting more gear and other things is to be able to use Wind Dancer and my damage abilities. I do want to drop my custom crit setup, but there's a little bit of a problem. It's that it just does so much damage on bosses. Like, we are supposed to be a flicker strike, triple disable and things like that, but I don't really need to disable bosses if they last literally 2 seconds. Like, let me show you another clip. This is from my Twitch. Yesterday I was doing, this is a tier 9 boss map. And as you can see, it begins 1, 2, 3, 4, dodging one place. We put the bell, and it's dead. I still had to put my charge stuff, get more power charges, and then stun it or electrocute it, and then go into flicker. But it already died when I put the bell and some of my ball linings procced. So that's also one thing to note about the state of the game right now. It's that we have this problem where both HP pools, even then, unless they have super high durability mobs, like for example, they take less damage from critical strikes, have extra health, and you have more points into the Atlas tree because, as you might know, as you go further into the Atlas tree, mobs actually get difficulty, and they also get mods, and shrines, and things like that, and they are irradiated, and they have a lot of things. Basically, I'm still not in the endgame by any means, but I can't limit test my build. I have done some sanctums, but I'm not good at the game, so sometimes I deplete them. On ultimatums, I just crash. There's like a problem with the Direct 12 or Vulcan, or I've tried everything, Direct 11 even, and I always crash in ultimatums, so they are just piling up over here. As you can see, there are a lot of them. I also have some barriers, whatever. I will do them eventually. They are not important. Now, as for my gear, the updates to my gear are important, but I'm also going to change actually almost everything. Now, the first of all, the Bolts Protector Ironclad vestments. Get them, put 2 rooms on them. Try to get, of course, some decent roll of armor and energy shield. Put quality, and then corrupt it. Maybe you get a third thing or an enchantment. I will eventually buy more and corrupt them. Same thing with the boots. Try to get them with high intelligence, a move speed, and of course, if you can get a good roll on evasion and energy shield, it goes up to 80. Even better. And same thing, corrupted, maybe you get a second place. Now, of course, for the runes, you want to use a chaos resistance or all resistance runes or max resistance. I'm poor, well, poor, let's say, so I don't have those. The helmet, you want to eventually get a 400 to 300 ES helmet, because there's a point that I'm going to get eventually. This one called Subterfuge Mask. You get +2 evasion per 1 maximum energy shield. So if you have a 400 energy shield helmet, you are getting 800 evasion. And that's almost all of the evasion that I have already. Very strong. I'm also going to put these 3 points eventually also. I also get this one. So we are going to get 60% energy shield and 60% evasion rating if we have consumed a power charge and a frenzy charge recently. That's easy to do because we have something called charged infusion. We are not going to have 100% of time of that consumed recently, because I find more powerful to get taken less charges from me. Eventually, if you want, when you can sell your 20% quality for lower one, if you want to get that 4 second flat when we have more generation. And that means that you will always have, if you have spent one charge and have at least one, that's important. If you have only one and spend that one, charge infusion is not going to work. Same thing when combat frenzy, it's still there. When we electrocute, freeze, or pin, we get a frenzy charge. This one I find weird because it doesn't have quality. I think they will put that eventually, and I don't have enough dexterity to have it at a high level, but you want to have that one. And profusion, 50% to grant an additional charge. This is kind of how I generate most of my frenzies, apart from my sniper's mark on my custom crit. But this sniper mark, we do so many crits that it pops and then you just insta get it. Of course, I have ingenuity for less cooldown on my sniper's mark. I do want to drop custom crit, but that will come later. And then ball lightning, as you saw in the clip with the boss, it is just unreal how much it destroys everything. I think it's going to get nerfed. The bell, likely Tempest Bell with levels and with things, it's going to get heavily nerfed in their hits or in the damage it does. Around from 60 to 80%, I think it's going to get nerfed or something like that. Charge stuff also may get nerfed, but I think it's kind of easier for it to go under the hood. This does a lot of damage, and I have it with electrocuted. One thing that you may see me do a lot in videos and clips is you don't need an 8 stack is a charge staff for the shockwave to do a lot of damage. As long as you have the buff, your shockwave is going to be the same. The only thing that changes is the extra added lightning that you get. So I get 1 to 16 added lightning for each charge. So it's a very strong buff. You get to 8 to like almost 100 flat lightning to all of your abilities. Of course, some of them have a very high power. As you can see, my flicker has 408 attack damage. And the last hit of Ice Strike has 524. And we do 2 of them. So it's likely that we shock from this. We have a lot of critical multiplier. So it works like that. So let's say my idea was with Whirling Assault and Inevitable Critical, this has 100% critical strike right now. If you take it off, as you can see, it goes. But after 2 seconds, it goes to 100 in theory. And it should last for the whole thing, but maybe it only crits once on the first hit and then it doesn't crit anymore. I don't really know the thing. I'm using this to put Wither and also to stun a little bit more. And that was the idea that I had to get power charges fast. It's not working. Maybe it's a bug. Maybe it's not. Maybe I need more critical strike. We will see. Now, on the links, nothing has changed apart from inspiration on my Ice Strike, because I have a lot more level 12 melee skills on my gloves and on my weapon. This is a really, really good weapon, but it's not the best weapon that you could get. I would not mind to having less level of melee skills or less damage if it had crit. If you got a 15% crit staff, it's going to make things smoother, but we don't have path of building, so we don't know if it's going to be more damage. Just your power charge generation, and we have a lot of critical strike multiplier. We have 400. It gets even higher because when we have 8 charges, we have 64 extra from the boots. Really strong boots. Offensively, they are very strong. Defensively, they don't have 35% move speed, or even 30. They don't have resistances. They don't have health. They don't have evasion, high evasion or high energy shield. But the damage they do is stellar. It's also 1 extra maximum power charge. Makes it so we have more flicker strike thingies. And it's also 1 extra stage of our charged staff buff. For our Mantra of Destruction, nothing has changed. 15% more damage on the skill Cooling Strike, and +1 to the Chaos things. Flicker is the same thing. Combo Finisher, 40% more damage. We are going to build a lot of combo anyway. Close combat, a little bit more attack damage in general, because remember Flicker Strike is mainly a physical damage ability. So we don't want like something primal or whatever. We still do some cold and lightning because of the talents and things that we have. Of course, as you might expect, 20% quality. This is from the ones that have dropped. Then perpetual charge. This is the 35 plus 20, 55 chance to not consume charges. Now that is everything that I wanted to say kind of about the build. So what are my plans for the future? If you like the build so far, you may want to play that, but some people have said me that they have problems because they are dying a lot. So what do we want to do? Eventually, we do kind of want to go for kind of more evasion and maybe even energy shield, because there are really strong nodes, and also getting maybe hate forge instead of the balls, and getting some rage regeneration. That's going to be for far in the future when I have a lot more currency, because having a spectral guard and also having bestial skin is going to be super strong with a hybrid chest. That's something, of course, that we want to do, but hate force right now is like 200 or 400 exalted. It's going up every day, so it's not easy to get that level of currency right now. As for my plans right now, when I get 5 more levels, when I get to 85, I have enough points to get the subterfuge mask also to get these points over here. And this is critical damage bonus on full life. This makes it so we do a lot of damage to energy shield mobs. Maybe that's something that I would want, but I still kind of want the crit from here. I will choose in due time. Now, as you might expect, we do want this regeneration rate. You can also get the mana on kill. This helps a lot on doing maps and things like that. I do have that inspiration and the other thing. So I'm using my mana flask, ultimate mana flask, with more amount recovered and reduced charge per use. Now, as for things to anoint, I still think that the fire damage is kind of good, but we may want something like, for example, mental thugness to get even more mana regeneration. If you remember the clip that I shot just now, I ran out of mana because I procced many chain lightning balls, ball lightnings. I did go and get tier 11 gem, so it's less mana. So instead of 52 mana, it's 36. Helps quite a little bit. You can see here it's 33 because I have reduced mana cost of skills. And right now, my Ice Strike is 34 mana with inspiration and those things. If not, it will be like 80 or something like that. Charge staff is also 45. Flicker is 200. And Wilderness Oil is also 200. Flicker is going to end up costing a huge deal. I may need to put inspiration on that one instead. Because I want, of course, to put these two sockets on damage. Now, this is still a mid-core build. We are doing, let's say, end of yellow, beginning of red maps. I think this can push that really easily, but mainly because mobs are super squishy. Not even bosses last long. And you can even see me, most of the things I'm clearing with Ice Strike and putting Bell. And I don't even need to use Flicker that much. It's still a strong thing, like when you are doing Breach, Expedition and things like that, charging your Flicker and using it, it's going to help a lot. Now, one thing we are not using, and I think it's quite OP, are the Heralds. You can try them. Instead of charging Fusion and Combat Frenzy, you can use the two Heralds, the Herald of Ice and also Herald of Thunder with Coming Calamity. It's going to make clear quite a little bit interesting. I don't want to use them because I find them quite OP, to be honest. Same thing with the Tempest Bell and Ball Lightning. I may drop those. Want to be more ethical and also get used because they are going to get nerfed. Like it's just too OP. You are doing up to 3 to 4 million damage in like 4 or 5 seconds. And there's even one thing that is more OP. Did you know that you can drop more than one bell? Yeah. You just skill bell more times. Like instead of Combat Frenzy, Wheeler Assault, and Charge Infusion, I could put one bell each, put like some random supports that give damage. And on my second place, I could put 5 bells if I wanted. And as you can see, I have QWERT, so I can do whoop, full piano flash mode, and then drop 5 bells, and the target becomes completely dead. Let's say 5 bells, 1 ball lightning, millions of damage. But that's the cool thing about PoE 2, at least. There are a lot of changes. There are going to be nerfs, there are going to be buffs. I'm not going to update the guide itself. It's likely that I just do another one with a new write-up. But not yet. I still don't feel comfortable sending this one to people unless there is a lot of people that want my build. If they ask for it, I'm going to put it, but at least until I do red maps comfortably without dying a lot. I don't want to update the guide itself and make another one. Just a fast update on the things. I'm also going to, of course, put the clip of the boss that got destroyed by lightning ball and bell because it's funny. And I will see you on the next video.